Dynamic, articulate, perceptive, courageous, outspoken.
Welcome back to the dojo. We got yet another one for you. This video is by Clownfish TV. Gen Z isn't buying video games. I'm not really sure what to expect or what they're going to be talking about or the reason why Gen Z isn't buying video games, but I thought this was rather interesting. I want to see what they're talking about. I've watched Clownfish TV from time to time. It's been some years since I really tuned in, but I will click this video and see what they're talking about.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. I'm going to talk about video games. I'm going to talk about Gen Z noping out of video games.
Well, you got to think about it. The cost of video games right now are ridiculous, especially with the release of Switch 2 and all their new releases. Everything's going to be 80 or above. Like, people are getting priced out of everything, and gaming is just something that happens to be something that is pricing people out. Soon enough, nobody's going to be able to afford these things. And honestly, if you got a Switch 1, stay with the Switch 1. You can get some of, if not most of, all the games for the Switch 2. I didn't really think there was a reason for a Switch 2. They should have made a whole new system, not a Switch 2. Because once they release the next system, the next system is probably actually going to do good. But the Switch 2, they said it that good. People already bought it, got their money's worth or whatever. Nintendo already made out on a whole bunch of people being foolish. But let's see what Clownfish is talking about.
This is kind of a cringy way to put it here. It's coming from Vice. Gen Z is cutting back on video game purchases. Like, really cutting back. Yeah, we're going to talk about this because it seems like Gen Z and Gen Alpha especially are not spending money on video games. It could be because Gen Z and Gen Alpha do not have a lot of disposable income, but I suspect there's something else going on. I think the quality of the games for the price of the games is just not worth it. In fact, we were covering...
I can agree. Quality and price point, definitely not worth it. I saw the Mario Kart World, even did a small video on it, a reaction to what somebody else was saying Mario Kart died. I saw the Donkey Kong Bonanza game. It looks relatively fun, but for that price point, $80, I can't see myself buying it. You know what I mean? And the whole release of the Switch 2, like all these extra components like the camera and the voice chatting, it just seems very, very poor quality for $500. That's all I'm saying. It seems very, very poor quality for $500.
This before, we said that a lot of Gen Z and Gen Alpha are going back to retro consoles, or going back to arcades.
Wait a second. That is not Gen Z and Gen Alpha. That is the millennials taking it back because the games of today really fucking suck. That's what that's about. That has nothing to do with them they're embracing it because that's where the good games are. How could you deny that so many good games came out in the golden age of gaming before we had DLC, microtransactions? These kids grew up with nothing but DLC and microtransactions, so that's all they know. So when they see the games that don't have microtransactions and all that DLC and stuff, they're like, man, this is a full game I can play. You know what I mean? I don't have to add anything onto it. I don't have to purchase anything. I just get the game and I can play it. That's how it should have been. That's how it always should have been.
Like the Chuck E. Cheese just kind of rebranded. They've got a more adult arcade now. They're coming back and they're bringing like retro games with them and all that. It's actually pretty cool. Down south, I think they're doing a bunch of them down south. Chuck's, I think it's called, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's called Chuck's Arcade. I saw a post about it online. Can't remember exactly which social media website it was on, but it said Chuck's Arcade. I don't know what type of games they were playing, but I'm guessing they're gonna bring stuff like House of the Dead, Gauntlet. You know, the old classic, like, where you can have multiplayers. You know what I mean? The old classic. Maybe they'll even have some Mario Party in there. I don't know, but Mario Party is definitely a hit.
Anyway, yeah. So there is a hunger for classic video games, complete video games that don't cost $80, $90. And, we've seen a lot of layoffs in the video game industry. In fact, yesterday there were more, I think it was yesterday or the day before, there's a bunch more layoffs at Microsoft. It's not sustainable. People aren't buying this shit. It's kind of like vinyl, right? They'd rather go back and play vintage games, complete games, or games they're familiar with, and maybe just revisit that backlog of Steam games they got on sale they haven't had a chance to play yet. But let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, go out to news.clownfishtv.com. We've got more podcasts out there. We're going to be ramping up content over there as well. News.clownfishtv.com. You can sign up for free, but if you want the paywalled content, the exclusive podcast, it's $5 a month. Help support the channel, because God knows YouTube is not going to here in the very near future. So let's look at the Vice article first. I can't get past this. Are you a Zoomer? Do you like video games? And does it feel like the economy reeks? Well, if you've been avoiding...
I like that he's doing the voice. It gives it an extra edge, because I didn't feel like reading that. Let me go ahead and resize this. I didn't feel like reading it, but I definitely will let him read it. I'm going to take me a quick break, get me some water. You won't even notice I'm gone. I'll be right back. Promise. Okay, we're back. Didn't miss anything. Let me go ahead and continue this video. It's about close to a 15-minute video.
Avoiding a Nintendo Switch 2, or if you plan on skipping out on EA's... I can't get past this. Are you a Zoomer? Do you like video games? And does it feel like the economy reeks? Well, if you've been avoiding a Nintendo Switch 2, or if you plan on skipping out on EA Sports College Football 26, you're not alone. Apparently, spending on the gaming industry is bottoming out among Gen Z, at least according to data from American research group Circana. Or is it Circana? It said Zoomer spending on games dropped by a quarter. Okay, so according to the Wall Street Journal...
so if it dropped by a quarter, that means if they were spending $100, now they're only spending $75. I understand.
Circana found both online and retail purchases among ages 18 to 24 dropped by 13% from January to April compared to the year prior. In particular, they found that young Zoomers were spending nearly 25% less per week on video games than in 2024. Maybe if there are some games worth buying, they would spend money on those games. While purchases for accessories, small appliances, technology, and total general merchandise had dropped with young adults, video gaming took the lead. In their data, the drop-off was enormous for 18 to 24-year-old gamers, as data on other age groups revealed a minor single-digit decline, well under 5%. Maybe, just maybe, the economy is not great, and people that are just starting out in life, 18 to 24, getting their first place. Maybe they have more pressing matters. Maybe they have actual bills that need paid. Maybe food costs a lot more than it used to, and an $80 Mario Kart isn't really on the list of priorities.
Facts. Big facts. An $80 copy of Mario Kart is not on a priority list, because when you really look at it, you got to make sure you got a roof over your head. You got to make sure you got food to eat. The necessities always come first, and when you realize that, you realize you don't have money to spend on video games, movies, and whatever else have you. No extra. We don't have money for anything extra. So you can thank inflation, you can thank Trump's tariffs, you can thank whatever you want to thank, but people do not have the money. The cost of living is too high, and people are not earning enough. That's the easiest way to look at it. The cost of living is too high, and people are not earning enough to be able to indulge in extracurricular activities like Mario Kart. That's all it is. We don't have the money.
I'm just saying, when you don't have a lot of disposable income. Rachel Wolf concluded that contributing factors to drop spending include a difficult job market, student loans, and a particularly high credit card delinquency rate among those age.
See, I didn't even think about student loans, but that's also another thing. People going to school can't pay for it outright. They got to take out a loan, and now they're in debt for roughly the rest of their life, or at least until for a great portion of their life they're going to be in debt, because you not only got to pay the loan back, but you got to pay the interest as well. So people don't have it.
18 to 29, maybe they were all putting their video games on a credit card and then skipping out on the bill. Maybe that's, wouldn't that be funny if like the AAA gaming industry was actually bankrolled by a bunch of kids that maxed out their credit cards and skipped out on the bill? And now they it's like, hey, everything's collapsing right now. This group is struggling more than older cohorts. An economist with Wells Fargo told the Wall Street Journal, the Wall Street Journal, yeah, there's one of them, Wall Street Journal, since younger consumers are not only spending less today, but probably saving less, that could dent their ability to build wealth in the future. I don't think that's everything. I think they're noping out because they don't want to play these shitty games. I think that if you've got $100 to spend, you could go buy one AAA or quadruple A title that's probably going to be incomplete, probably going to disappoint, probably going to lead to a lot of online drama, and could, at some point in time, be unplayable.
Right? And see, another thing I like to bring up is because the games are incomplete, so you're spending $80 to $100, and the game isn't even complete. They're going to release downloadable content, and then that's going to be like another $15-$20. And who knows how much downloadable content they're going to keep releasing through the lifespan of the game. You know what I mean? So a game used to cost $50-$60. Now it's going to cost you upwards of $120, $30, $40, $150, maybe even $200 to get the full experience from start to finish. Unless you just buy the complete edition, usually maybe a year or two after the initial release. So people are up in the air about these prices and DLC, and it just doesn't make any sense. Maybe the gaming companies are out of touch and they don't realize how much people don't have. You know what I mean? Maybe they're out of touch, or they're very much in touch and they just don't give a shit. It could be either or. I give it the latter. They don't give a shit.
Right? The whole stop killing games thing. Like, you might buy this game, $100, and in like 5 years they end support for it and you can't play it. Wouldn't that suck? Wouldn't that suck? So this is Matt Piscatella, an executive director and video game industry analyst with Circana, shared some insight on Blue Sky. Of course, it's on Blue Sky. Overall purchasing by 18 to 24s has plummeted, especially when compared to other age groups. The rug is not being pulled out from under young people. It's being burned while they're still standing on. So that is, of course, coming from Blue Sky. But look, I'm going to be honest. This is as a Gen Xer. Things are a lot more expensive now. Inflation is so bad. And I remember people tried to gaslight us into thinking the inflation wasn't that bad. I'm like, I've seen prices jump more in the last 5 to 6 years than I ever have in any point in time in my life, right? And I'm in my 40s, so I'm not like super old, but I'm twice the age of these people. And I've seen a steady increase in prices over the decades, but nothing as radical as it's been the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic. Like, it's just astronomical. Like, food prices, stuff's doubled, tripled in some cases. Now, the good news is at our local Aldi, the eggs are under $3 a dozen. So there's that, if that's a litmus test. But so many other things jumped up. In fact, Geeky went grocery shopping the other day and she came back and she's like, for $150, I got maybe $60 worth of groceries. She's like, it's so bad compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, I hate it too, man. I hate it too. Because it's like, I'm trying to work and earn a living. And it seems like I just cannot get ahead no matter what I do. No matter how much I save. No matter how much I penny pinch. It just keeps digging further and further into my pockets week by week, month by month, year by year. And it started in, 2019, 2020? That's when all this stuff began. We started to see the price of everything go up because of all the free money people were getting from unemployment, PPP loans, and all type of things. And those people were not playing. They definitely going to get their money back little by little. And if you were doing PPP loans, I feel for you because your time is almost up. They are coming for you.
As the report notes, young consumers are expected to spend heavily in the entertainment sector, given college students and recent grads traditionally now have low financial responsibilities. But if Gen Z's young adults can't spend it on gaming, that isn't a promising sign for the industry's future. And yeah, they're laying people off all over the place, right? And I think what's going on here, and it's a bunch of different issues. No, Metro, I'm not disabling my ad blocker. Sorry. But yeah, retro gaming is getting unexpectedly popular with younger generations. According to Metro in the UK, 74% of Britons say they play old school games to relax. I know vintage game stores and retro arcades are picking up in popularity, and you do see a lot of younger kids come in. By kids, I mean teenagers, young adults. And, we may or may not have firsthand knowledge of this. But yeah, I mean, if you can, for a couple $100, pick up an N64, go get yourself an EverDrive or something, you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to go buy AAA titles. Let's see what gamesindustry.biz is saying. They said video game spending by young Americans is dropping sharply, report suggests. They said there are numerous factors behind the pressures on spending, the job market, student loan payments, credit card debt, and shitty video games. Shitty, overpriced, gotcha video games. Why won't they say it? Why won't they say that part of the reason people are not spending as much money on video games might be the games themselves? Because I understand that, all this other stuff costs more, but if you're a real fan, you'll find $80 to buy a video game.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're not saying what the actual problem is. In my opinion, I do believe it's money, but I think it's just the games themselves are not that good. So the data emerges amid a time of rising hardware and software costs in the video game sector. Xbox recently increased the price of consoles. That was idiotic. With upcoming games set to cost $80, Outer Worlds 2 will be the first at that price point. I remember just a couple of weeks ago, people were like, the games aren't $80 isn't going to be the new normal for video games, you chud. It's like, no, fuck off. They're 100%. It's going to be the new normal because once people pay it, this is the Disney mindset right here. So what's going to happen is that as the normies no longer want to buy the new AAA titles and the new consoles or whatever, the consoles and the AAA titles are going to be for the wealthy. That's what they're going to do. They're going to target people that have disposable income. That means they're going to, it's kind of like the comic book industry now. Like people are buying the chromium, 55 variant covers and the whole shit, the collectible stuff. And that's what's going to happen here too. I think that consoles and releases are going to be more like exclusive, more premium, and they're probably going to sell fewer copies because I don't think a lot of these kids are going to be buying, the $100, $120, premium edition of a game. They're going to make more collectibles. They're going to make more games that come packed with a bunch of stuff. Everything is going to be like limited run games or whatever, where it's got a bunch of stuff with it. Except in case of limited run games, you have to wait 4 years to get it or whatever it is. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to turn physical releases and consoles into, or at least physical releases into, kind of a collectible market. And they're going to charge a premium price because the normies aren't going to buy the physical releases. They'll buy it on sale on digital later, and the plebs can have their Mario Kart on sale for $60 or whatever 6 months down the line. But we're gonna juice the diehards, just like Disney. We're gonna get our top fans to pay as much as possible at launch of a new game or whatever. We're gonna make games tailored to their whims. And I think that means that this is part of the reason that they laid a bunch of people off in the AAA gaming space, I believe, because they know going forward, it's going to be the older people with money that keep the game afloat. So you better make games that they want to buy, just like the comic book industry. They'll figure it out later, too late, possibly. But they'll be like, oh, yeah, we need people over 30, over 40 that actually have jobs and money, hopefully, to buy our stuff. So pretty interesting, though. But yeah, there's a whole retro revival. All this stuff is coming back. Care Bears and Sylvanian families and all this stuff. And we have seen it. And we mentioned before, it's not a big deal. I mean, we actually have a business that's half retro arcade and half, it's not a comic shop, but we do sell nerd collectibles and games and stuff like that. I don't consider us a comic shop because we don't carry new floppies because I'm not a masochist, so I don't want to have to unload that shit. But we have a lot of vintage toys, and vintage toys sell very well, and it's a lot of younger people. We had a girl come in the one time. I remember I like cleaned us out of vintage strawberry shortcake dolls, and she was like maybe 14. And I'm like, hey, you can go to Walmart and buy the new ones. She didn't want the new ones. She wanted the vintage stuff. So that's pretty cool. Geek will be all about this. She loves all this stuff. So there we go, guys. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. Pretty interesting stuff, and I think it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. It's going to hurt the AAA gaming industry quite a bit. And yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to have a leaner, meaner, more focused industry going forward. But there are going to be a lot of people out of work. I believe in the very near future, it's going to continue. So brace for it, right? Brace for it. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Okay, yeah, this video, I definitely agree with it. I'll go ahead and give him a like. I definitely agree with just about everything it was saying, talking about the cost of living, student loan debt, people not really having money because the cost of living is steadily increasing, but our wages are stagnating and staying the same. They're not increasing with the cost of living. So people are going to, by default, be priced out of most of the things that they want to enjoy. It's not just video games. It's not just video games. It's everything. Sooner or later, there's only going to be things that are for the rich and the wealthy. And everybody else is just priced out. You just got a window shop. Look from the outside in. Hopefully, hopefully you get a good windfall and you can just start to indulge in some of these things. But the way it's going, only the rich will get to indulge in new video games. So there's that. Well, Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bid you adieu. I hope you enjoyed this reaction, guys. Toodaloo.